In this video, I'm going to go over the finer details on the two-piece rear hub seal that you'll find on 2001 to 2021 GM trucks that have a 10.5 inch or 11.5 inch rear axle. Now this seal actually came out of a 2004 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD, and it is the original seal. As a matter of fact, they've made a change that has superseded all part numbers. The newest seals, the new process now has a flange on this side, and the flange actually presses. When you press it into the hub, the flange bears against the hub. Nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, it's an improvement. But if you notice this number here, I don't know if you can read it, but you can see that there's a number there. That's the GM number. You take that number and you go to auto parts store with it, and if you are or a GM dealer and you order that part, you're going to get the original GM part, but it's going to have a flange. So at some point they have made that change. Apparently after 2004, but who knows when, who knows for sure, but whatever. That's the case. So you may have a seal that looks like this, or you may have the flange seal when you remove it, but when you go to replace it, you'll almost definitely have a flanged style. Also, these seals do change. There's a change in 2010. From 2010 on up, they are slightly bigger. As a matter of fact, here's the information right here. If you're interested, you can take a screenshot. That's the Federal Mogul National Oil Sales part numbers. There's the GM part number for the 2004, which is basically the GM part number for 2001 to 2010. So there are your numbers. And now that we got the information out of the way, we'll go into how to install this oil seal and how it works. Now, as I said before, regardless of the year, when you get your new oil seal, more than likely it's going to have a flange. This metal retainer ring will have a flange on it. In addition, as you can see, this retainer ring does not come out as far as the bore. It's not even with the sealing surface here. The new version, this metal portion, as well as being flanged, also comes out to the same distance as the sealing surface. So in effect, what you wind up having is an interference fit, so as opposed to a press fit. So you will need to take a block of wood and a hammer and drive this into the bore of the hub, or use a bearing driver. Once that's done, you'll take the completed hub assembly and slide it over the axle tube until it gets to the journal, the last journal that is sized to fit this seal. And from there, it'll be a pretty tight press fit. And you have to give it a really firm push. You may even find it easier to wind it in with the axle nut. But it is rubber on this style seal, as well as the new seal. This is still rubber. It's rubber clad, this race. So it is a press fit, not an interference fit. The thing to realize though is even though it's just a press fit, when you go to remove it, it tends to bond to the journal. Perhaps it's due to heat generated by the brakes. I mean, the brake backing plate is mounted on a flange on the axle tube that is immediately adjacent to the area on the axle tube where this seal sits. So the heat generated from that may very well cause the rubber to bond to the journal, and probably not even a bad thing as far as the seal is concerned. It probably just makes the seal that much better, but is a problem when you go to separate it. And also, the reason why I'm even discussing this is because it also would be a thing that would make you not want to reuse this seal again, because the sealing surface here would be questionable. All right, so, but when the seal is installed, the way it works simply is that because this is a press fit on the stationary tube, this can't rotate. This part of the seal is held from rotating. The other portion of the seal that was pressed into the hub cannot rotate relative to the hub, but when the hub turns, it rotates with the hub, and there you go. As you can see, there is the seal in action, and that's what you got going on. Now, if you want to see this seal in a little more detail, we can actually take it apart. So to take it apart, this particular style comes apart quite easily. Just take a screwdriver, put it between this retaining ring and this rubber portion of the seal, and give it a little twist, and then you can pop the retaining ring off and the seal comes apart. And now you can see the two pieces of the seal. Here is the inner portion, which basically is a race, and here's the outer portion, which is just a typical lip seal. And if you wanted to inspect it, it'll basically be a post-mortem, because like I said, you should just replace the seal regardless of its condition. And you could check if you wanted to determine where it leaked. Would be the condition of the spring. There is a spring that holds the lip tight to the journal, and you check that isn't like loose. Maybe it doesn't have the full tension it should have. That would be harder to determine, but if it was loose fitting, you would know that was a problem. This spring appears to be okay. You would check that the rubber itself was quite pliable, and this is, so that's a good that seems good. Also, that there were no nicks on the lip itself, and also that the lip does come to a point, and this lip seems to come to a pretty good point. So that all seems good. When we look at the inner race, here's where we do see a problem. We have scoring, and if I run my fingernail on here, it actually gets stuck in that. I don't know if you can see it that well, but it's getting caught in the groove. So that is more than likely, almost certainly, where this seal was leaking from. And the seal was leaking. So seal is bad. Now, if this was a normal seal, this would be a problem, because this damage would be on the journal itself. There are solutions for that, actually. You can sell special seals that are oversized, and a sleeve that slides over the journal. It's called a seal saver, but you don't have to worry about any of that, because in this case, all the damage, all the wear is relegated to the seal. So you just replace the seal and all your problems are gone. Your journal cannot be damaged because it is pretty much going to be pristine, because it is protected by this race. Okay. Now we'll put the seal back together. And you can see here too, just actually I put it back together the right way, the same way you took it apart. Otherwise it doesn't, it's just how things are. So if you put it together in the same way you took it apart, it snaps, the retaining ring snaps right back on there, and your seal is back together. And although, like I said, even if everything checked out, even if it appeared to be good, wasn't worn, I would still be suspect of the sealing surface here. So regardless of the cost of the seal, if you don't replace it, you're risking a leak, and then you're basically doing the same job over again. So seal should be replaced anytime you take the hub off for whatever reason.